World Financial Group offers entrepreneurs from all backgrounds the opportunity to start their own business on a level playing field. Dr. Yana Woodhouse, receiving the WCM Wall Street Pioneer Award by the United Black Wall Street of America, Inc., is one of those entrepreneurs.
I see WFG and TFA as a place where African Americans with an entrepreneurial mindset can flourish. And the bonus, we help families and serve the communities across the country.
To learn more about us, go to worldfinancialgroup.com.
We are the sons and daughters of the soul. We are resilient and forever forward-thinking. We ask for nothing else than the opportunity to live and to create the lives that we were meant to live. We want nothing but an equal chance at options and possibilities. The same possibilities and options to live out our potential as our fellow man. We want to be heard, understood, and expressive in our reality. We are the future. We are the creative. We are here.
She was told that she couldn't play with the boys. She was told that they were too big, too rough, too strong. She was told to give up her dreams and move on. She was told to just be pretty, be quiet, be a lady. She was told that women had to stay on their side of the court, stay in your lane. Playing and competing with men was insane. She was told that men and women would never be equal. Dreaming like that would only be linked to your mind, to your soul. She never listened. She knew that their thinking was old. She was natural. She is the definition of spirit. She is what champions are made of. She is now.
Have you mapped your exit route, your escape plan, your way out of working for a boss, a company, or a wage that doesn't excite you? How will you break free from the limitations of being someone's employee to the lifestyle of an entrepreneur? The Wealth Wave platform is your door to business ownership in the biggest industry in the world, bigger than the second and third industries combined. It joins the scalability of team building with the size of the financial industry. With the Wealth Wave platform, you can avoid taking on the financial risks that make some startups unrealistic. Instead, low entry costs enable you to launch your business part-time with confidence. From day one, the Wealth Wave platform provides guidance to accelerate training, earn your insurance license, and build a team. A powerful suite of web-based tools and mobile apps make it possible to run your business from home, from an office, or from anywhere. Technology makes it possible to stay organized, take action, monitor sales, and track progress. Video training can be leveraged to elevate your professional skills and improve at your own pace. With modern marketing, you can reach out, shout out, and stand out on the web, on social media, and on mobile. Experienced mentors are at hand and incentivized to help you dodge missteps and level up. The Wealth Wave platform is designed to help you build your team as fast as your ambition can go. It's built to help you increase your sales with the assistance and automation of intuitive tools for a mobile-friendly, on-the-go lifestyle. It's focused on protecting your business from threats that could derail your accomplishments and your success. And it's poised to help you serve your clients with a range of resources as you develop your book of business. With over a decade of growth, an experienced team of leaders to support you, and the mission to improve financial literacy across North America, WealthWave has a rich history of innovation and industry-defining vision. The Wealth Wave platform offers you the chance to bring families throughout North America products from some of the industry's top financial services and insurance companies. Whether you're brand new to the industry or an experienced industry veteran, the Wealth Wave platform is different by design, engineered to scale, and positioned to empower entrepreneurs for generations to come. A year from now, will you occupy the same desk you do today, or will you sit at the head of your own business? Affordable, meaningful, doable. Consider the Wealth Wave platform as a door to your dreams and your future. It's more than your way out. It's how you'll enter a new era.
Well, greetings. This is Dr. Yana B. Woodhouse with Access Wealth Nation on the Soul City Network, and of course also broadcast through WHCR 90.3 FM, the voice of Harlem. And I, Dr. Yana B. Woodhouse, thought today, especially in this day and time, is time to talk about entrepreneurship, ownership. It is so important in this time because jobs are being taken away from us on different levels. We have the AI, we have the meltdown, job change, young people coming into the market, knocking the older people out. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on. Businesses closing, can't afford to do the unions and pay the dues, can't pay the benefits. So today we're going to talk about what's basically what we cover is called the Plan E, entrepreneurship. Now, there's a little e to it and there's a big E. The little e happens to be employee, the number 2, and then into to entrepreneurship, because it's time to map out the escape. You know, it's said that most people wind up on Monday morning either probably dead in many cases or sick. Why? Because they'd rather die than go to work. So this is what we're going to talk about today. Bringing up, what's your E-plan? And we're going to start the slides. Thank you very much. And it's, as you may know, I have many projects out here because multiple streams of 6-figure incomes means financial freedom. But among them is one that I hold dear and near because my dad told me he who writes the check is free. So we do, and I'm an advocate for the E2E program. Well, what does that mean? E2E. E2E is a nationwide business movement launched by independent business people because we're not in the sea by ourselves. And it's to help professionals to make their own move towards employee to entrepreneur, because no one's teaching us how to be an entrepreneur. There have been no better time than now in history for that, as I've said before. And the key is that in today's presentation, I'm going to talk about a blueprint for success. And we need to really work towards it. And it's called the Plan E. So before we do that, I want to just plant some seeds in your mind, because becoming an entrepreneur is more than just a physical move. It's a mental move. And we got to dig a little deeper into our own self and our thoughts. So here's a few things and ideas, but which are the 3 areas that you really want to change or get more freedom and total control over? Like who I work with, my creativity, where I live, having more fun, more of my time is important. You know, where I work, caring for family and friends. You know, it's one of those things that we're in that world of stretching between the world of taking care of parents and taking care of children, or doing something that's more meaningful, which I know a lot of our Gen Zs want to do, and buying stuff that we want and need. which is a difference. So in answering that question for yourself, you also have to think about your whys. Why am I doing this? Why would I want to be an entrepreneur? Do I want to be one? And one is to really look into the two whys that are most important. What or who do I pour my money into and my time into? And it's okay if you said yourself, don't feel shy about it, and the things I want to accomplish, to pursue, the lifestyle, the dream. We need to dream. And it's okay if it's things, because we work hard, we should be doing that. Now, I want to know and ask the question, out of these two quotes, what really impacts you? What really touches you? One was by Tony Gaskin, who said, if you don't build your dream, someone will hire you to help build theirs. Or what Eleanor Roosevelt, one of our president's wives, said, the future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. What hits you there? Just think about it. Hold on to that thought. And again, if you have any questions, comments, and statements, please feel free to put it in the comment chat and we will address it. But I want you to understand how powerful this is and what's important. And I'm doing this even beyond the financial literacy, which is my mission. We all have missions, things that we came in this world with a passion with, and we want to do. Something happens because when we were little, we wanted to be the fireman, we wanted to be the astronaut, the lawyer, the mommy, or the daddy. We wanted to do the world, and somewhere slowly someone said no, and it slowed it down. So we've got to think about it. What really is our mission on this earth? And when we do, if it's something that, I'll say, if it's in entrepreneurship, is running in your blood, in your spirit, is it in your DNA? I honestly believe it's in my DNA, only because about 85% of the Woodhouses and the Johnsons that's my family line, happen to be entrepreneurs. So it must be something there. But if it's in there, then it's truly, you're not going to be happy until you fulfill it, till you touch it and make it happen. And this is one of the things that why I'm talking about is, who are you meant to really be? Who? Because only then will you build and do what is meant to be built and impact the lives that you were meant to impact and to make a difference in the world. And especially if you will need to be an entrepreneur to lead. So we're going to take a little look here. Why entrepreneurism? You got to remember, the average employment position is not designed to offer freedom. It's designed to pay you to define a definite amount of money to basically do a defined job. Okay, the journey of the broke. Not downplaying it, because you need folks who are going to be the worker bees, no doubt. But there's something about an entrepreneur, and I hope you hear this loud and clear. Entrepreneurship is not designed for predefined limitations. An entrepreneur needs flexibility. They need the freedom to be creative and to dream. But here's the catch. Freedom requires time and money. And entrepreneurship is the only way to gain that type of control. So when you punch that time clock for someone else, or some other entrepreneurs getting, basically, think about it, closer to their freedom, and it's not about yours. So what happens there? You have to have a plan. There's the A and the B plan. The A plan, usually we look at and go, I need to get in a promotion. And the B plan is, I got to find a better job. And you may now realize that you need another plan, and that's called the E plan. That's about an entrepreneurial lifestyle. To escape the plan, you have to really look at a smooth transition. I'm not telling folks to quit their jobs right now, but to find that possible gap between starting a business and still working and funding and taking care of your needs. Your entrepreneur plan needs to give you an easy way to basically lower your risk. That's another aspect, and remove obstacles. And for the most part, your e-plan can put you in a helping hands experience, especially with other leaders. You need experience, and you need to have some mentors and guidance to entrepreneurship. Like I said, it's not taught in the schools. So having a plan is definitely to basically the difference between hitting it on the head or hitting the mark. That's what we're trying to do. That's what we're doing. Can I take that try out? I'm sorry I said that. Having a clear and solid plan drastically increases your chances to make it happen. Eventually, freedom over time and money. That's the target that you're really shooting for, and that's what you want to hit the nail on the head. So let's look at and explore some of the essentials of a solid E-plan. Okay, we're going to go over the risk. There's the reality, there's the mindset, there's the answers, and there's the people and the options. And finally, the E factor. So let's look at the risk first. And the risk can be the blocks. One thing you have to do is almost give yourself a lobotomy, because we've been taught that we need to work. I is off to work we go. And so we need to ask yourself some questions. What are the startup costs for the business? And you should sit with a financial advisor and focus in on that. Can I afford them? Or can I find a way to get the money? And can I develop a marketing plan, or is there one already out there? Might be. I don't have to recreate the wheel. I can get someone and utilize what they're doing in success. That's why I think mentorship is so important, but more so to be and to work with people in the same field that you are, and be an apprentice in some ways. That's how things went years and years ago. Can I get a cash flow, or will I have to run out of cash? And can I get some funding? These are the things that are important. Do I got too little or too much business? Do I have people coming at me at a fast pace and I can't serve them? What are the things that I need to know? And then the legal and contract issues. Like I tell folks, I'm ready to scream every time I hear an LLC, because my next question as an accountant is, how are you taxed? And most people give me that deer in headlight look, or they are a sole proprietorship, which has that word, the disinterested party, as a Schedule C. And that might not be the best thing to do for your business, but you need to talk to professionals to figure that out. Get your team together, your financial advisor, your accountant, and your attorney. And those are the things that you need to get the momentum going in your business, and to protect you maybe from the loss of the business or the loss of your dreams. You don't want that to happen. So when we talk about reality, the rewarding success will also be the most painful to earn. It doesn't come easy. So I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's no longer working for 8 hours, looking for a vacation, uh, getting benefits. It really can become where the success of an entrepreneur, sometimes it hurts. It's a little or maybe a lot, but so is childbirth. It can hurt a lot, but in the long run, it brings your soul to happiness. So that's some of the reality. Now, what I'm going to show you here is what we call is a chart, and how hard and worth is it to become an entrepreneur compared to other opportunities. So let's look at this chart. Easy is at the bottom, hard is at the top. To the left is it's worth it. To the right, not worth it. And then to the right, it's worth it. and you know the difference between it when you're working with your thinking at your business. So first we'll mark down the low skill, high skill jobs. Okay, if you put them in different spots, one that almost anyone, a low skill job is one that anyone can basically do, don't need a lot of training. The high skill jobs, they do require a lot more training, education, intelligence, and talent. And with all of these put together, not necessarily does it always give you the most money all the time. So that's the reality of it. The problem with high skilled jobs is that there are fewer positions, and few that may qualify. And then it puts these kind of jobs out there, sometimes out of reach for most people, for those technical worlds. The other part is that if you're an entrepreneur just planting the seed, you may not be the one to always be in that position of the high skill. It was Henry Ford who created the Ford cars. Set up, he says, I only have a third grade education. I hire the geniuses. Oh, somewhere up the ladder, there are ways that you can basically work to determine whether you're going to work for somebody and fulfill their dreams, or you're going to fulfill your own, and how much can you earn through this. So as we're looking at this chart, we're looking at the low paid management positions. These are all things that we have to take into consideration. Why? Because if we're not doing it, someone else has to do it for us. Okay, so generally these jobs, hard due, they give you, especially when they're giving high pay, high stress, high pressure, and really not more than what some of the lower paying jobs are paying. You're paying in time sometimes. So these are things we have to be aware of as we're going up the ladder. Now here's the entrepreneur way up there in the corner. It's hard and it's worth it. And that's one of the reality. The reality is clear. It's the hardest, but also it's the most worth it. And there's countless ways of which we get an opportunity to get our freedom, because that's what we're looking for, is our freedom. And in that, it was something that was called the grit. Do we have the grit, the determination, the vision, the self-belief? Because all of those need to be in place when you're dealing with your entrepreneurship. For the prize that you receive in your freedom and your dreams, is it really worth, and is it important for you to run that gauntlet? That's the question you have to ask yourself. Now, as you see here, there's a little chart talking about the dip. There's a guy, Seth Godin, I'm not sure how he pronounces it, with the dip. And the dip is after the basic, during the honeymoon phase of business. When you first start your business, there is absolutely nothing that is greater. You're all charged up. And then it comes the dip, the endless hours of work with constant frustration, with little money, less appreciation. The effort for a time can really far outweigh the initial rewards. But it's still very important, because in that dip, when you come out, success is there. And it's worth every bit of it. But you can't beat yourself up. And that's what we do when we start seeing, oh, this is not working. I don't know why I did this. No, you just have to re-examine. So you take a few minutes and maybe get that book, The Dip, and see where it works for you. One of the phenomena you will likely face is what marketing guru Seth Godin said is that you can be beyond the dip. I don't think I clicked the thing. Right, here we go. So What you do next is to make sure you get the mindset. The mindset is so important. And knowing the realities and talking about the mindset of what it takes to be an entrepreneur. Now, Steve Seabolt, who also co-authored um, the book How Money Works, Stop Being a Sucker, which is also, I'll talk about that when we transcend after this presentation, about how to get the book How Money Works, Stop Being a Sucker. But that being said, he said, you're either growing or you're dying. Stagnation does not exist in the universe. Here's the mindset you need to keep growing and prevent stagnation, is to know that you need to be growing. Now, will there be struggles? Yes, struggles every successful entrepreneur goes through. We don't have the luxury of the 9 to 5. And many a times in my 44 years of being in business by myself, for myself, I've had good times. I've had fantastic times. I've had some low times. Okay. There have been times when I had to pick up the realm where the staff was not there. They did not show up. Okay. And I had to show out. We don't have the luxury of the 7 days a week and the benefits. We welcome the 16 hours and sometimes no weekends off. Why? Because we're working towards one goal, our freedom. So you got to get used to, as it says here, sometimes you have to say no to your family, the constant hearing of no, that you can't do certain things or that you can't do for someone. But you'll need all the positivity that you can get. And let me tell you something else. If you're not around more entrepreneurs, you're killing yourself, because you need to have people of like minds with you. And the reason why is because the naysayers will drive you crazy. And if you listen to them, that's what would happen. Are you mentally tough enough to cross the entrepreneur mindset? And you got to ask that question. That's a chasm that definitely can be daunting. To earn the life you want, is it worth taking that chance? And I would say to you, yes, but you have to have a good plan. There are 4 mental toughness tips that I'm going to give you that will help you to prepare for the resilience that's necessary. Is to work on a same goal for years, pushing through failures after failures. You must apply and sustain concentration. Emotion comes into play. And emotion is a poor navigator, okay, for your business. But it is excellent in increasing self-motivation and inspiring others to support you and remain dedicated in your mission. Then you got to use logic. And logic fuels the data, the metrics, the brutal honesty to steer your business. And number 4 is to face your fears. Fear and faith can't be in the same place. So therefore, you have to be able to determine what you got. So you can't win when you got fear sitting there in front of you. Push forward. Make sure that you have the courage, and it's necessary that you not have the fear to lose, because what do you have to lose? If you don't do it, then you have not tried, therefore you don't know if it did or didn't. And the worst words of mice and men is, it might have been. So do you have enough grit? The grit is basically a term that is to sticking to your future day in and day out, seeing it, eating it, sleeping it. Grit can't be taught or bought, but it's something that you must possess if you're going to overcome the entire work and the dauntingness of being an entrepreneur. Now, here is the answer that you must have before you make your moves. Here's some of the answers. With your mindset in place, You have to write down the answers that you must have before you start your business. These answers are the prerequisite. So here's some of the things. What industry are you serving? What's the market you're going to? What's your market look like? Can't say everybody, okay, because everybody's not going to buy from you, okay? Differentiating, special formats between what do I offer that makes me different than anybody else, you know. Also, product and service. Am I giving a product or I'm providing a service? And what's the solution? I never forget my marketing professor said it so well. He says, what is it what problem do you see? And you see the solution and you're just trying to find somebody to pay you for it. That's what it's all about in our entrepreneurship, and to make sure that you have the answer to these questions. And the ability, do you have the ability? If not, how are you going to provide that ability? What are you going to do? And what will basically shield you from the temptation to be all the things to all people and to prevent you from building something that you love? And basically, who will buy from you? Who is your service? So these are some of the things you have to look at. And last but not least, I think we're coming close to the end of this presentation, but I'm hoping you're feeling this. And if you have questions, please feel free to reach out to me at Anaja Enterprises Inc. at Gmail, because if you're ready, I want you to be ready and I want to help you. So with your answers in hand, it's time to determine the type of people you're going to be around. And I told you already, you need to have 3 special people in your life. You need to have your lawyer, you need to have a financial advisor, and your accountant. But also you need to have a mentor. You need to have someone that you can bounce things off. I would not have been to the level and the success that I've gotten if I didn't have a good mentor to talk to. So who do these partners, how will they work with you? They'll help you with success. They'll build your reputation, happiness, it brings it, attitude, momentum, the values, and above all, it increases your income. So you have to think about who are the average 5 people that you spend the most time with in your lifetime, in your time now, as you're building your business. If they are not moving towards success and they are not entrepreneurs, you might want to step back a bit, because they won't understand what you're going through. So sometimes you have to, like one woman told me, she says, she listened to the type of friends I have, and she says, I need to change my friends. you know. So these are basically the things that you have to do as we close, is that there are some courses and core beliefs with E2E that you have to look at so that you won't feel like you're going it alone, and that's why I do what I do with the E2E now, is to pay it forward. Mentorship is essential for entrepreneurs to succeed. At every step, we all need the strength of encouragement, step-by-step guidance, and we got to listen. Don't just have your mentor talk to you and then you don't do anything. You've got to listen and work, and you do need again, like the encouragement, the step-by-step guidance, experience. You want someone who has the experience in your area, and build that camaraderie, because all of that's important. It's important that you laugh, that you got support, that you have friendships, that you have people to say, keep on keeping on, even when you're running that race. And so just in closing, I want to say is that this is something that Helen Keller said. She says, alone we can do so little, together we can do so much. So I want you all to think, and those of you who are thinking about becoming an entrepreneur, and again, you also have to have a plan, because if you don't have a plan, you plan to fail. So I will say to you is that, I don't know if you can see them, we have the How Money Works, Stop Being a Sucker book, and we have How Money Works for Women, Take Control or Lose It. If you'd like the books, all you have to do is contact us at Anaj Enterprises Inc. at Gmail, and we will send the book, but you have to send your address. It's a paper book. So it's not a situation of where, it's an ebook. It's fully for you to be able to read. And once you read it, that's all the obligation I have for you is to read the book. And once you read it, tell me if I can help you in any way, shape, or form to achieve this golden dream that's important. Also, if you'd like to have a free financial analysis, um, which is a plan, once you've read the book, there's a thing called the discovery call that you can see where you are and where you'd like to be. And this relates to either a business or an individual. So if you'd like that also, all you have to do is call my office at 646-375-2121, and we'll be able to assist you with some of my associates. So I'm hoping that you got something out of this, because I want to show you what a real entrepreneur looks like. And so I have the honor, and I tell you, mentorship is one thing, but also networking is phenomenal. And so yesterday, the Greater Harlem Chamber of Commerce, which I'm a member of, and so is the bodies, Matt McCoy and Jasmine Pfeiffer, the Pfeiffer, are members of the chamber. And it's a place where, of course, it's the largest chamber basically in this country. And the beauty in it is that you get to meet people. So I was at the event yesterday, and there was awards given for people who had, four women who had done presentations on their business, and they won. And this was one young lady that I got a chance to meet, and I love it. I'm going to read a bit about her. She is a dynamic serial entrepreneur, two-time author, inspirational speaker. She also is an alumni from John Jay College for Criminal Justice. She has two books called Wounded Liberation and Loving You into Freedom. But she also has a business, and she is the CEO of Elegant Chauffeurs. And so, with no further ado, I'd like to bring on my guest, Crystal. Oh, she has a middle name, Giovanna Ferguson.
Hi.
Hello there. Welcome to Access Wealth Nation.
I'm so happy to be here. It's a pleasure. I really loved your presentation just now, too, Dr. Woodhouse.
Glad to be able. I'm glad you did. I hope others, because I know you're on the similar mission to helping people.
Yes.
And I mean, there's so much to talk. I would love to also. I'm already starting. I know I'm going to have you come back. Uh, but I wanted people to see a real and listen to a real entrepreneur. And I know that's what you are. And
Mm-hmm.
you came up with the idea of the Elegant Chauffeur, and you're going forward with that. But also, you have an initiative that I'd like you to talk about a
Mm-hmm.
little bit of, and that is about helping people who have been incarcerated, some wrongfully, some rightfully, but they're stagnated at that point in this country. They
Mm-hmm.
have they have nothing to go on because everything is a block. So
Right.
how do you help those people? And how can I join you in the help?
Yes, I love that. Well, just a little bit of background. Loving You into Freedom was birthed out of a personal experience. My partner was incarcerated, wrongfully convicted for a crime he didn't commit, and he served 10 years in prison. And in 2 days, it'll make 2 years since he has been home, and he has been thriving and doing very well for himself. And we realized when I posted a video of his return on Instagram, I got so many comments and direct messages about, what worked. How were we able to help him transition? And so I realized that it wasn't just an experience for me, which I personally believe that when God gives you a mission, it's not just for you. When He gives you a testimony, it's not just for you. It's actually to help other people walk through. And so that is why I penned the book, Loving You into Freedom. It is the wellness perspective for justice impacted families. And it just gives insight on how to navigate that process. Because for many families, it could be the first time you're ever experiencing it, and not knowing how to navigate it can stagnate how your loved one goes through the process and how you go through the process as a supporter. And so in doing so, we also realized about the collateral consequences even after you transition home, and the barriers to re-entry as it relates to housing and finding a good job and things like that. And so when you turn to entrepreneurship and allow people to take control over their narrative, take control over their story, and to become an entrepreneur, so that way they don't have to keep facing rejection, especially if you've done served your time, it's imperative for families and loved ones to be able to have the resources available to help their loved ones navigate that transition.
And it's not just a financial research source. It has to do with the emotional, just like I was talking about the support. Many of people, look, we make mistakes in life.
Correct.
Okay. Not only that, our community knows that people get attacked and brought in for the most stupidest thing. I had a gentleman come and interview with me to become a financial advisor, and he made one mistake. He was inside a car at the wrong time, and his whole career has changed. He could not do, because they block you. And so that being said, is that the emotional for someone to say yes, you can, because if not, they're going back.
Correct. Correct.
And so what do you do to help inspire, which was wonderful. You told the story, because sometimes we're the most secret agents in the world. We don't tell, we don't tell what happened. Don't tell nobody. Just keep going. No.
Yeah. Tell the story. Be transparent so people can relate to you. Yeah, because the more I share the story, you have no idea how many people have said, oh my goodness, I felt alone. I felt like I was by myself. I didn't want to talk about it, because there's a lot of shame attached to it, right? Because you end up serving a sentence too in society if you're loving somebody into freedom. And so a lot of people just, deal with it by themselves, and that's not healthy. So just giving people the power, like I tell people that loving you into freedom is a permission slip, where you could proudly love your people into freedom without any shame or attached to it. Because once you own your story, nobody can use it against you. So
that's it. Because once you tell it, you tell the truth. And then therefore, so what?
Correct.
Okay, but the question also, how does one get your books?
Yes. So Wounded Liberation is on Amazon right now, and Loving You into Freedom is on our website, lovingyouintofreedom.com. It will be on Amazon by the end of this month, so yeah.
Alrighty, I say everybody go out and buy. So take this book to new levels. Plus, it's something to give hope. We are a community that has lost hope, and we have to get hope back. I know, Jesse, you were out there, keep hope alive. I got you. But now we're at another stage in life, and in this world, something keeps pressing you down, for me, looking at the year 2023, and we're still going through this mess. The discrimination, the road to prison. They got our babies at 8 years old targeted to head towards the prison.
Yep.
They get the privatizing in the prisons, that they get the for $1.50 they get an hour, they get some serious labor. My brother Matt and I, we have a poetry group called Hottest Poets, and we used to go up to the prison to make a difference. And you're watching and you're seeing the meat being cut there. They got the mattresses being made.
Yeah.
So it's not a happenstance. And in my thought, and being a metaphysician, I don't see the embarrassment as much as, unless you did something really, just evil.
Yeah.
But when you're getting to a mess, the fact that we have right now gangs in our community is because we don't have the ability to take care of our children like we'd like to. We'd like to
Yeah.
be home for the child, so at least one parent be home, but we don't have that. So
Mhm.
since we don't, we got people who will take your children and do other things with them.
Yeah.
I told all my godchildren, you got a crazy godmother, so don't do anything that you don't think you, because she will come and find you. I said, your parents got sanity. Your godmother has no. So go
Has none.
get some godmothers and godfathers out here who don't have any sense at all. Because I would be. Don't let me catch you on the corner. Don't
Right.
catch you with your pants down. Hat does not go turned back. I mean, the whole thing. And
Right.
all of them are very fine, upstanding young men. But
Good.
they were talking about the fear of Auntie Yana. But it takes, like they say, it takes a village.
It does.
So,
It
what are
does.
some of the things that you gear people to do when they need to start to become an entrepreneur? Because there are some rules and regs, there's registrations and stuff. What do you offer them?
Yeah, just offering them to think, to dream, right? Because a lot of times people have lost the ability to dream. I think you mentioned it too in your presentation. Like some people, when you get to a certain age, it's almost like rooted out of you the ability to dream. So that's the number one thing. What is it that you always wanted to do with no considerations? Talk to me about that, right? So that way you could set yourself into like that childlike spirit to just wonder without even thinking about any kind of obstacle, right? And then now what are the steps that can actually be possible? Because some people think that they might have passed a certain age and they're like, oh, that dream is dead. It's not true. When I look at a lot of lists of like wealthy people, some of them have become so wealthy and enacted on their dreams after the age of 50. You know what I'm saying? So, and it's there's so much more. As long as you are living and breathing, like you said, if you're not growing, you're dying, right? So it is either or. If you're not dead yet, you can dream, you can act. We live in a country where, yes, we have like flaws as Americans, like as a country, but we also have an abundance of opportunities. And it's a matter of like exposing people to them to say, hey, there's a different lane for you. Here, try this. And to establish your business and to really take up your space as an authority. Because I do believe that God gives us visions that are specific and unique to our experiences that the world is in need of. And so just empowering people to actually go after their dreams. Like it's not too late.
So I want to know from you, what started the Elegant Chauffeurs?
Ooh, yes. So I was a high school guidance counselor for 4 years. And during the last year, my salary was cut. And I loved my students so much that I said I needed to find a way to supplement my income. And so Uber and Lyft were prevalent companies, and I decided to go get my TLC license, which is the Taxi Limousine Commission license, so that way I would be able to drive black cars. And within 10 days of me driving on those platforms, every female passenger that I had asked me for my number. And they just said they felt comfortable having a female driver because in New York City alone, there's only 5% out of all of the drivers that are driving that are women.
Wow.
So I said to myself, there's a need here and I need to be able to fill it. So that's how Elegant Chauffeurs was born, and it's about to be 7 years in January. And yes, and I'm so excited for the work that we've been able to do, the different partnerships we've been able to have, because while I started driving with a Toyota Camry, once I was in the like space, I just kept seeing myself in a big vehicle, Suburban, Escalade, and then I started to expand my fleet because once I understood it's a possibility, I saw people driving and I said, I got to get one of those. So within 4 months of me driving my Toyota Camry, I saved up all that I had to get the down payment on my first Suburban. And I've had two Suburbans since then, a Yukon XL, an Escalade. And with the grant that I was able to win the other day, we're looking to move into a sustainable direction. So we're going to be investing in electronic vehicles. So I'm super, super excited about the growth of the company and just the need for luxury transportation, especially in the city, just to make people feel safe, make families feel safe, and incorporate a lot of hospitality. In my former life, I did work as a front desk agent at a hotel, and I love how hospitality is included in that whole process. And so I wanted to bring that into the chauffeur space as well. So I'll be launching as well a chauffeur school. To teach other drivers, because I will be moving out of the driver's seat and into the space of just teaching and just supporting other drivers who are new to the space but want to maximize their service.
Oh, that's awesome. So a driver's at the school, that's the other thing is that I think is missing when people get to a certain level. They hog it up. Okay, so they're no longer secret agents, now they're hogs. And so now they're hogging it up.
It's true.
I don't want to tell anybody. Just like for me with my clients, I find it hilarious when I say, well, if you know of anybody who can utilize my services, in my office, and they're like, oh no,
I want you to myself.
yes,
No.
and I'm like, yeah, but
Stingy.
you can't pay me like that.
Stingy.
We need more people. So that's awesome. So you got to keep us posted on this. I told you last night it was interesting because we got thrown together.
Yep.
It just worked. And I mentioned to you, I said, well, I don't have a guest for tomorrow for my show, but I wanted to really talk about entrepreneurship. And you said, okay, I can do that.
Yeah. And here we are. There's so much power in one conversation. So much power.
Definitely. And you are phenomenal. So
Thank you.
So now I'm jumping. I know I'm jumping around because I didn't want to miss getting the chauffeur aspect to it. And on your site is how people book you. Is that also?
Yes. And my cell phone number is on there as well. If you text, usually a day or two in advance, just to make sure that I'm not fully booked. But I do have partner drivers that if I'm unable to be the one to facilitate it, we'll be able to get you covered. But you cannot request it like 2 hours before. It's it's not that accessible as of yet because of the privatized experience.
I'm hearing from you that you like the hospitality portion. So tell us, how does that relate to the drive or your ride?
Yeah. Just, I have some clients that are repeating clients, and just knowing what restaurants they like to go to, knowing what music they like to listen to, if they want to talk or not, and just building out their profiles so that way ahead of time we just know what kind of flow we're going with. But also opening the door and waiting for people to get in, their luggage and umbrellas, having mints and waters, and if it's a engagement or something, having concierge with flowers, like just finding ways to just add little things to over deliver. It does so much. It does so much for people's spirit.
Can they book you like for the day?
Absolutely. I actually prefer that because a lot of times I have clients that are super active. They might have a couple of interviews to do, or if they're going shopping with their family and they just want to stay with the car and not have to worry about parking. I prefer just having somebody for the day. It's seamless, it works, and it's just functional.
Oh, that sounds just so awesome. Definitely. Okay, so I'm going to jump back to the idea of we're helping folks. Now we have the two books. So we know about the first book, that's Loving You to Freedom. I'm saying it wrong, I'm sure. Loving You
into Freedom. Mm-hmm.
Freedom. And then we have the other book, and I just lost my screen, so you're going to have to cover for me.
It's Wounded Liberation. It's
There it
this
is.
one.
Wounded. Now, what's Wounded Liberation about?
Yeah, so I wrote this, I published this right at the beginning of the pandemic in March 2020. And it's a coffee table read. I love hip hop. So it looks like an album.
It
So I
does.
have a growth advisory instead of a parental advisory.
I love it.
My chapters are like tracks.
Oh, shoot. Yes, I see that.
But it's a coffee table read, and any page that you go to really just empowers you. It has poetry and prose. This is just one of the things I have to get out my system, you know? But it has been a tool to help people who are going through depression and want to activate joy and be motivated to not stay in their funk. This too was birthed out of a personal experience I got out of a relationship that was not good for my mental health. And so I realized again, your testimony is not just for you. God didn't allow you to go through that just to go through that for yourself. So figure out a way to help other people with it. And so that's how
Oh,
this
that
was
is
born.
so awesome. And the reason why I said it is interesting. I have a client of mine, she's a therapist, and I'm going to tell her about this. I'm sure she's listening. And that was one of the things that she said, which was touching for high school students at this stage. They,
Hmm.
she says every day she's talking to folks about suicide.
Hmm.
Young people are feeling hopeless. And
Hmm.
that touched me a lot. I was like, you know, if you have something to live for, then you're going to live. But if you see nothing, and at that age, how could it? Because you're so young, you've got the whole world in front of you, but it's happening. And she said that, in her opinion, COVID was what messed up these kids because they had no interaction. They're sitting at home, they're looking at a computer,
Hmm.
no one's talking to them, they're not
Hmm.
having fun, they're not going to dances and parties and doing.
And
And
they're internalizing everything. They're comparing themselves on social media. Adults are comparing themselves. So I can only imagine the children, you know. And yes, young people, my heart goes out to them right now because this is not a time where you even want to play around with your potential. And I think it's just a matter of putting down the phone and going outside and networking and talking to people and just try things out and just, attempt things because you could sit behind a phone and be so restricted, but the world is vast. The
that
earth is our turf, literally. And I feel like just the exposure to that, to realize that there's so much more than life, so much more than this phone, it will do so many wonders for these
I
young
think
people.
that you're so right because we're at a time where, there are entrepreneurs. There's another entrepreneur that's out there that honestly has gone to the six figures for hugging.
Yeah.
And the reason why we're void of hugging, we're void of contact. So she gets paid to
To hug.
hug. Now, it's as bad as I know when I first heard the fact that we were going to get bottled water, and I was like, that's not going to last long. I get the water from the sink. I'm good. Wrong me.
Mm.
Pay for water. I had a young man in my office recently, and he's thinking of becoming an entrepreneur, but he's not sure what he wants to do.
Right.
Of course, I talked to him about the world of finance because it's so sad. There's less than 3% that of color that are in this industry right now.
Wow.
And women are, for African American women or black and brown women, it's 1%. So yeah, what is it? Oh, human touch and togetherness cures all ills, including depression, yes, and mental illness.
It's
Oh,
true. It's true.
for sharing that. It's really true. But if we've got to go to a level of where now we got to pay for it. And it was interesting. She was on 60 Minutes, this young lady talking about the hugs. And, of course, everybody looked at her cross-eyed and said, what you doing with this? but she said that she's even had men who their wives have just no, you can't touch, because fear of COVID, and so they go to get a hug. It's interesting. So just like our guest, its listener Cynthia Swanson said, it cures everything.
It does.
Touch.
It does.
People are afraid to touch these days. It's sad. So I know you being an entrepreneur, and I'm so happy that you came on board to Access Wealth Nation today. But I would like you to give us a word of wisdom from an entrepreneur to future entrepreneurs out there. What can you give them?
Ooh, great question. A word of wisdom. I would say go for it. Go for it. Even if it doesn't turn out the way that you expect, go for it and then do something new. You have a lifetime to play around with in terms of just trying new things and executing and seeing what you like, what you don't like, but don't bog yourself down on over preparing mentally for what you may not even realize the outcome could be. So if you just go for it, anything that you want to do, try, be, have, do, just go. Be free. Be like a child. Children go for it all the time, especially when they're learning how to walk. They'll fall and forget that they ever fell. Go for it. Be a child again. Think about your life like a playground so you can enjoy it where it doesn't feel stressful. Even if you have bills, play around with the idea of paying your bills. Just approach everything with joy and see how your outcomes shift. So just go for it.
Loving it. Amen. That's it. I'll tell you, thank you again, Crystal.
Thank you, Dr. Woodhouse.
You're very welcome. And definitely, I order all of y'all to go out, buy the books. Buy the books. Okay, next thing is read the books. Okay.
That part. Yes.
You got to internalize it. Then you can externalize and share. And then when you want that ride, just treat yourself.
Treat yourself. I promise you're not going to want to go back to any other way of travel.
Because we deserve it.
Yes.
Someone has to say it. They say, I don't know. No, you deserve it. Said, once they've done it, they're not going back.
They're not going back.
So I'm going to be checking on you. And so to see how you're doing, stay in touch.
Will do.
I'll have you back because I
want please.
To hear more stories of what's going on and how things are going. So thank you so much for coming on Access Wealth Nation.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. And to the audience, this has been a wonderful experience. I hope you learned something. Now, once you learn it, you got to act on it. Because again, knowledge is power. Action is good.
Ooh, yeah.
So you all have a wonderful night and enjoy.
Thank you. Good night.
She was told that she couldn't play with the boys. She was told that they were too big, too rough, too strong. She was told to give up her dreams and move on. She was told to just be pretty, be quiet, be a lady. She was told that women had to stay on their side of the court, stay in your lane. Playing and competing with men was insane. She was told that men and women would never be equal. Dreaming like that would only be linked to your mind, to your soul. She never listened. She knew that their thinking was old. She is magic. She is the definition of spirit. She is what champions are made of. She is magic.